Okay, in this video we're going to look more about the Unix shell. So the plan is to go through some more commands that will be useful and also look at transferring files. So first we're going to look at transferring files, and I added a section here in our study guide. There's two programs that you might use. So Filezilla works on a Mac and on Windows. WinSCP works on Windows. They both work in a similar kind of way. I put a link here to where you would download those. So you would download it and install it. I'm not going to show that right now. I already have it installed here on my Mac. So it's in my list here. And I actually already have this logged in. I'm going to go ahead and make it look like it would when you start out. And quit the program. Start it again. Alright, when you first load the program, on the left hand side here is just showing the local computer. And you can type in here some connection information just like in PuTTY, but you may want to go to the site manager and make a new site. I'm going to make cs139 at cs.indstate.edu. That goes to cs.indstate.edu. Put 22 for the port to make sure it uses secure. I wanted to use SFTP, ask for password, and give my username. And then I'll hit OK to save that. And there's the information. Now if I go to connect, asking for my password, up here is a transcript of what it did. Now I can see on the right here are my files on CS. So I could be over here. If I do ls here, I should see a similar kind of thing. There's desktop, there's files, and so on. In my public_HTML, I have these files which I can browse from the web. If I want to just download the file, I can do that over on my local computer now. So if I browse down, there's study, it's on my local computer now. And if I go in my application to look at files, I should see there's the file that I just downloaded. It's on my computer, and I could use a program over here to edit that file. So right now I'm on my this is on my Mac. I'm not logged into the server. I can use the terminal here because Mac is well, it has this terminal that we can use. So I could use Emacs or Vim if it's installed to edit this file right here. Right, and this is on my local computer. And I know that because of this right here. If I'm logged in, then it displays like this. Okay, so that's Filezilla. That lets you download files from the server and also upload files to the server. Say you had an image that you wanted to put to use in a web page. You would do that by dragging that over, and then you would have the image in your public directory. Okay, I could also, let's just to drive home the point, I could also open this page, study.html. You see it says file there. So the file's on my computer, and this is what it looks like. Now if I went and changed it, let's see, I'll just go ahead and do that. My study guide is great. If I save that and refresh, oh, that was the title. I suppose that's right here. My study guide is great. Alright, so that's the file. If you need to transfer files back and forth, that's a way to do it. and this allows us to make a web page. You can work on it on your local machine and not be connected to the internet, and then just transfer it when you're ready for it to be uploaded. Alright, next let's go and look at more shell commands and also a little bit more about permissions. Let's start with the stuff about file permissions. Okay, I'll do ls-l. We have the permissions here. D is for directory, and then you have the first three slots that are for the owner. Next are for the group, and the next is for other. Okay, and we've seen where there's different ways you can use the chmod command. So if I want to make notes readable by everyone, I could say O+R, notes, and that's now readable on the end. If I want to make it also executable, so that would mean you can go inside of it, which normally you need to do for directories, that looks like this. There's another way to do it with numbers, so I could also say chmod 755 notes. Now what it's going to do is it's going to interpret this 7 as a code for which of these bits are going to be set, and the 5 for the next 3, and a 5 for the next 3. So each digit here is corresponding to either the owner or the group or the user. Let's see what it looks like. So for the group, it was RWX, now it's RX, and that's what 5 means. And if we look at the binary value of 5, we'll do binary in another video, but the binary value of 5 is 0101. So if we line that up, that 101, this 5 is supposed to be for the middle 3 spots, and that binary 101 says read yes, write no, execute yes. And since we had 5 also for the last 3 parts, that also gets the same. And 7, if you look at it in binary, is going to be 111. We can go over that in another video, but if it is 111, then that's telling the computer that each of these should be enabled. Alright, what if I do chmod, let's just make something up, 642 notes. So what is that going to do? You could pause and think which are going to be set. Okay, so let's start with the 6. So what is 6 in binary? It's 110, and that's for read, write, and not execute. And what is 4 in binary? 100, so that has read, not write, and not execute. And then 2 is 010. So that's the last 3 spots here. Not, read, yes, write, not execute. And it's highlighted like that because it's warning me that I have other set to be able to write my files, which is a strange thing. A good default is 755 for directories, or 700. So what would 700 do? Well, 7 would be 111 on these first 3, and then 0 would mean none of the other ones. Okay, so that is a way to do direct permissions. Same thing for files or directories using these numbers. Now let's just go through this list of extra commands to be aware of. df, we've used in an assignment. If you do df.h, that stands for disk free. So it has the size of all the drives. There's the size and has the amount that's used, the amount that's available, and the usage, and then where is it actually showing up in the system. So if we look at this line right here, that says there's a device, dev is for device, SDA5 is just a name for it, and that's U1. So if we look at /U1, so everything inside of there is actually on this drive. That's what that means. And if we look at this one here, we have a device there, and the slash means everything that's under slash that's not one of these is going to be on this drive. If you used Windows or DOS, in the old days, Fdisk was a program that allowed you to look at drives in Windows. At some point, partition editor was a thing. Okay, so that's this list. Now let's look at DU-H-DU1. DU stands for disk usage, and this is actually looking into your directories to add up how much space is being used. So if we look here, it says inside the homework directory, I'm using this much. Total inside of this directory, so I add up all my stuff in my home directory, all that stuff. Total, I'm using 6 megabytes. The -H is for human readable, and the -D1 is for depth 1. That's going to show us just a summary of the folders. If I do D2, then it'll potentially go 2 folders deep. So we can see there the Lab 7 has 28K of kilobytes of files in it, and Lab 6 has 32 kilobytes of files. Alright, that's DU, and all of these have lots of options, which you can look at by reading the man page or by searching Linux DU examples. Will often give you some useful examples that you can try. Okay, let's do head and tail. So these are useful for looking at huge text files. I'm going to go to /1. Well, first we'll look at one of these. We'll look at About Me. So first, if we look at About Me like this, there it is. We could load it into an editor. If I just want to get a quick view, I can say head About Me, and that shows the first 5 or 10 lines. Looks like 10 there. If I say tail, what part of About Me do you think it's going to show? That's the end. That's the end of the file. So it just prints the end of the file. And if I give a parameter, I can say -n2. That's the first 2 lines. If I want the first 20 lines, that's actually the whole file because it doesn't have more than 20 lines. Same thing for tail. Okay, that's the last 2 lines. So that's a quick way to look at a file without having to load it into an editor, and this is useful for huge files. So I'm going to look at raw data files. Here's some text files. This one here is 1.4 gigabytes. So if I try to load that into my text editor, it's going to say, are you sure you want to do this because it's a huge file? And it'll work eventually. So there it is. It doesn't really matter what this stuff means. But if I just want to look at what's at the beginning of the file, I can look like that. Okay, so that's head and tail. Free we've already used in the homework assignment. So this is the total amount of memory on the system. It's good to keep in mind. It has the amount that's available here at the end is the amount that's not being used. So there's not really much running right now. Top is a command that you can use to see what's running, and I'm the only one that's logged on right now, it looks like. Okay, so that's free-h to see how much memory there is. Then top. Good. Okay, so top also has lots of options. This is showing programs that are running. I'm logged in, and that's showing my program. If I want to just look at my programs, I typed U for user, and these are just my programs. So I have my top, TCSH is the shell that I'm using, and then this SFTP is from having Filezilla open, and SSH is from being logged in. If I do U and nothing, so that's everybody again, and Q to quit. Okay, Grep stands for GNU regular expression. So let's say I wanted to know, I don't remember which HTML file I did tables in. So if I think there might be a table in one of these HTML files, so this is grep is the command I'm running, this is what I'm looking for, and these are the files that I'm looking inside of, and star means anything, so anything.html. And I see it prints there that inside of labcheck.html is a table. I don't think that's actually used. We won't look at that. If I go back to my huge data example, if I wanted to look for some particular string inside of here, I could do that. Now it's going to print all lines that have that. It could potentially be a lot. So I'm going to do var head. Let's look at what this does first. Okay, so it prints a few. This is the command, and it would normally just print all the lines. But instead of printing the lines to the screen, this horizontal bar here, which for me is above my enter key with shift, this horizontal bar here says take whatever this would normally print and send it to the head command. Remember what the head command does is it prints the first 10 lines. So if I didn't have that, I'm probably going to have to kill this. I did Control-C to kill it. If I do it with the bar, then it sends it to head. Okay, so let's check to make sure that we have that stuff in here. So bar is, this is the pipe symbol, sends output of one command to the input of the next. I'll add another one here that I just used Control-C. Holding Controls key down and pressing C, so that kills the current process. So if you have something that's running out of control, Control-C kills it. Okay, that's so grep. There's lots of options to grep. One of them that you might use would be -I for case insensitive. So there's hello, and you notice that I did star.star, that's all the files. So in hello2 it's lowercase, and hello there's a uppercase. Didn't find them both because there's a -I. And if you're looking for something, probably instead of reading this, you would probably go and just search for examples for what you're trying to do. There's lots of different options you can do here. And the REP is for regular expression, which is actually, you can put more than just text in here. You can put a regular expression, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. Okay, WC is for word count. Let's go back to our huge data example. WC, if I do that, it's going to go read the whole file and count how many lines, how many words, how many bytes. And how long does it take to read 1.4 gigabytes? So this says there are 45 million lines in there. There are 56 million words and that many bytes, which is 1.4 gigabytes. Let's go back to my, let's see, WC hello2, and let's see if that makes sense. is cat here? I'm going to say cat. Concatenate can use to print a file like cat hello2.txt. So if I say cat hello2.txt, this command can be used for other things, but we can also let it print. So in the hello2 file is just the single word. So there we have one line and one word and 6 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there must be a space. Or there's a new line. I guess there's a new line. Let's see. Alright, this one's slightly more interesting. There's 9 lines, 26 words, 136 characters. Let's look at it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9 or 10. Did it say 9? Alright, and then 26 words. So we'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So the important thing there is it's considering anything that doesn't have spaces or new lines or tabs in the middle is considered a word. It's not a word count in terms of the English language, it's just in terms of space. But that gives you a quick bit of information, and that we use that to look at the number of lines in this file is the number of accounts on our system. Each account on the system gets one line there. Finger shows who is logged in currently. I can't do that. So finger shows who's logged in currently, and I cannot do that because it's a public video, but I can say finger J Kinney. That is me. Okay, so that shows some information about me. If you just typed enter, it would show who's logged on. If I say finger Kinney, it should show all accounts that are Kinney. So I have a couple test accounts here, and the Devin Kinney is my wife. There's another account. So if you did finger Miller, then that would show all the people that have name Miller. So I use that to look up people's account numbers. If I'm trying to look for your account and I don't remember what it is, and then I do that with your last name or first name, and then if you have your name set properly, I'll find you. PSSWD is used to change your password, so you type your old password and then type your new password. Let's log back in again. Okay, date. That's the current date and time. That's it. Cal shows the month, and you can do a different month, so I could do 5/2017, that would be May. That shows me May. Cal 10, let's say 7/1980, that would be July 1980. BC is for binary calculator. 8 times 6 plus 4 is 52. Let's try 2 caret 3. That does exponentiation. So this is not like, yeah. So let's do 2.3 times 2. What should that be? 4.6. So we can do different things. Quit. Okay, so that's BC, binary calculator. Locate. Find files. So an example is find files that have been used in the system. So if I said locate hello.txt, it'll give me some kind of printout of all the files that have hello.txt in the name. And I'm not going to do that because it may show information about who has accounts on the system. If I do it like $r/$, that'll be only, those are symbols that mean something, but what it ends up doing is it's only files that have that exact name. Okay, so that's locate, and the way it's doing is it's every time a file gets used, there's a database that gets updated for that. So that's locate, and then there's also find. So I could say find, and I could say find tilde dash m time dash 2. So this is showing all of the files of mine. So m is for modified time in the past 2 days. These are the files in this account that have been modified in the past 2 days, and those are basically the ones that I've been recording videos about. And tilde says start from my directory. There's lots of help about all these things online, but here's one example where they had some typical options. Dash name is another one. So dash name, I don't have anything there. If I go over into my CS account, so this is any file inside my directory because I did with a tilde, and dash name says it should be called readme.txt. So if you don't know what directory your file's in, you can do it that way. And you can also use stars. Some stuff may show up there. Let's verify that that's correct. Okay, so I had the read star in the middle there, and it still showed me the readmes. That is okay. Now stat gives us stats. So stat hello.txt. This gives information about the file. There's 0775 says for the access, and let's compare that against hello.txt. Here's the permissions, 7, and this actually is 5. So this 775 is actually the number from chmod. Okay, so that shows this is the number version. Oh, and there's the letter version, rwx-x. There's other information here, access, modified time, and this is some information about where it is on the disk. But this information is stuff that you may have a reason to look at sometime. And cat, more commands. So if you just want to look around, these are directories where programs tend to be stored. So if we look in bin, we see here grep. So the grep program actually lives in this /bin. There's other things. There's head. So here's some other ones that tend to be installed. /user/bin is another directory that tends to have things installed. And /user/local/bin is another place where things tend to be installed. I think, did we cover everything we're supposed to? Yep, that's good enough for now.